Thank you, Senator Hughes. I promise to be brief. It's not often that we go out of bounds on these things, right?
Senator, I don't have the statistics. I know that there are out-of-bounds resolutions every session.
Would you call it often?
I'll defer to you. I don't know what the...
Do you know how many times we've done it this session?
I don't know. I believe you. If you tell me, I'll trust you. I don't know.
And I'm not sure that I think the answer is one, and it has to do with the budget. You would agree that it's not customary, that it's less than half the time that we go out of bounds.
I bet it's less than half the times, but I'm just guessing. But I bet it's less than half the time. I bet you're right.
Are you aware of any this session other than this one?
Well, Senator, conference committee reports are just now coming back, so I think we're going to see these again.
Are you aware of any this session other than this one?
Well, you mentioned the one on the budget.
Right.
And there may be others. I'm not sure.
Are you aware of any others?
If you know, I believe you. You tell me.
I don't know of any others. So what I'm getting at is this is something that we do in this chamber, right? We do go out of bounds from time to time, but it's not a normal thing to do. So if we're going to do it, I'd like to just kind of take a look at, see what exactly we're doing, because you mentioned that, for example, Senator Creighton's bill is stuffed into here out of bounds. There are other things stuffed into here out of bounds.
I don't think I said stuffed in, but go ahead.
No, you did not say stuffed in. Yes, you mentioned that it's in here, though. Pardon the characterization. It's a visual. Helps us think.
It's effective.
Ordinarily, well, actually, just first of all, what happened to Senator Creighton's bill? What happened to it in this whole legislative process prior to today?
Senator Creighton's bill passed the Senate.
Yes.
Went over to the House, and it was in the House committee, and I don't recall if it died on the calendar, but I know it did not make it all the way through the process in the House.
So it died, for lack of a better word, it died in the House.
It died over in the House, yes.
As many bills do. It's a graveyard of Senate bills in the House, veritably.
So it would seem.
And frequently, what would you do as an experienced legislator if one of your bills doesn't make it through and it dies in the House? Would you look for some other way to get that passed?
That's right.
What's one of the ways that you would look to get that passed?
So you're asking if I had a bill that didn't make it through the House,
yes,
and I still wanted to get it passed?
Yes.
So I would look for other bills along the same subject matter where it will be appropriate to amend onto that bill, and try to proceed that way.
And I'm not...
Is that how you would do it?
Well, I'm not at your level of experience, but that's what I understand most of us try to do, and that's a method. So that's really a more typical route than going out of bounds. So it seems to me that what we've got here, after a bill of extraordinary length and complexity in the House, an extraordinary length and complexity in the Senate, an extraordinary length and complexity in the House, and an extraordinarily lengthy debate, a thorough involved process, and then opportunities to amend. Oh, let's see. How many election bills do you think we had in this in the Senate this session? Let me go there for a second, and we'll come back on.
I bet there've been several. Again, you tell me the number. There've been several.
I don't know. It just seems like there's one for every Republican member of the legislature of the Senate seems to have had at least 2 election bills at this point. And I'm making up a number, but it seems to me there's been a lot of times to pass election reform through a lot of vehicles. And so now, quite relevant to what we're doing here, we're being asked to adopt a resolution adding one more stage after dozens of election reform bills. After 5 months of opportunities to move it through, now we're being asked at the last minute with very little time, and I know this is all carefully thought out. I know some of it's well-intended. I think some of it, I don't know how we would define well-intended. Some of it's quite substantive, like overturning elections. Some of it just kind of comes out of nowhere. For example, page 9 of this resolution, we're no longer accepting applications, I think this is for mail-in ballots, with a photocopied signature. I mean, how many election bills did we have to get that done? If it didn't get done, why should I vote to adopt this resolution to allow it to get done here? We've already been there.
Well, Senator, respectfully, I believe we should evaluate these elements on the merits and vote based on that. And if we don't feel like they're good policy, then we shouldn't vote for it.
Is the process worth anything? So normal process of moving something through where we would no longer allow photocopied signatures would be for someone to file a bill like the dozens of bills that were filed in this chamber that didn't make it, and they didn't make it for a reason because the legislature rejected them. And now at the last minute, on the 139th day, we're being asked to suspend the rules to do everything from inconsequential things to highly consequential things that didn't make it previously. Isn't the process worth something?
Senator, this process of suspending limitations on the conference committee is part of the Senate and the House procedure. This happens every session.
It's not normal,
We're following the rules.
We established at the beginning, it's not normal.
Did we say it happens in less than 50% of the time, or did we that it's not normal?
I think we said that between the two of us, we could only identify twice that it's happened so far in this session.
As conference committee reports are only now beginning to come back.
I'll be counting to see how many of them are in this resolution. I think you get where I'm going, and I don't think I can support your resolution because I have a great deal of respect for what this chamber does and what the House does and the legislative strategies we all have to get stuff on here. And I consider going out of bounds to be something extraordinary that we'd make doing the budget in light of changed circumstances. We got more money, we got less money, we have more needs. So we adopt a resolution to accommodate those changes. Or perhaps there's a complex thing we learn more about all of a sudden, but this seems more like you're just trying to get in bills that you couldn't pass, or you thought up some other way to do some things that many of the members of this chamber don't want you to do. And so out of respect for the process and the affront to the process that I consider this resolution, I'll be voting against it.
Thank you, Senator.